Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and a quick little video tutorial for y'all today. Today I am going to demonstrate how to install Ubuntu. Now this obviously is going out for all those users who are new to the world of Linux. And looking around at the desktop here, this is a place you will not normally see me in my videos, and that is on my Windows partition. 99.9% of the time I am on my Linux partition, but I figured I'd do this video at least starting out from the same point that you will be starting out from, and a majority of you are going to be coming from the world of Windows. So whether you're on Windows 10, 7, XP, it really doesn't matter what I'm going to show you here. It pretty much is going to be the same no matter what Windows distribution you're running. At the same time, what I'm going to demonstrate here will hold true for probably 90% of the Linux distributions out there. So just because I'm using Ubuntu on this tutorial doesn't mean that what you learn here can't be applied to a different distribution. Definitely, most of the official Ubuntu derivatives are using the same installer, and even the ones that aren't, the installer is similar enough that what you learn here, you can apply it. So anyway, let's start by downloading Ubuntu. That's a good place to start. Obviously, until you download it, you can't install it. So I pulled up the Ubuntu homepage, and right here on the front of the page, got the Click Ubuntu button. If you go and click on that, it will take you to right here where it says Get Ubuntu. Let's click on Ubuntu Desktop because that's what we want. And you got a couple of options here. You can either download the Ubuntu 14.04 LTS. LTS stands for long-term support. It'll give you support for 5 years. And then there is also the most recent release, Ubuntu 15.10. Which you want to go with, entirely up to you. I'm going to download the 15.10, which is the most recent version. But, like I said, use whichever one you want. And then you have a choice of 64-bit or 32-bit. If you go with 32-bit, as they say right here, it's recommended for systems with 2 gigabytes or less of RAM. If you're running 4 gigabytes or more, you'll be doing yourself a disfavor by not using 64-bit. There's no reason not to. So we're going to select 64-bit, click download. And if you would like to go and do a little donation to Ubuntu to help keep the development of this project going, you can do so. And then move on to the download page. And there we go, Ubuntu 15.02 desktop AMD. Go into my downloads folder and click save. We'll let that go, and I'll pause the video while the download takes place, and then when we return, I will show you what to do with it. Alright, our download is complete. If you look at our browser down at the bottom, you can see that it's showing that the download is complete. Now, you can't go and double click the download and have it install. There is a little more involved. Wish it was that easy, but unfortunately not. So what we need to do is we need to burn this ISO either to a USB or to a DVD. I'm going to use a USB just because I can continue to keep using that same USB over and over and over again. If you want to burn it to a DVD, you can do that fairly easily as well. Let me go and I'll open up my downloads folder here, and let's see. Come down to, let me find it. You can see I got tons and tons of ISOs that I've downloaded for testing and whatnot. So Ubuntu 15.10 right there. If you go and right click it and go to burn disk image, basically it's just a matter of following the instructions from that point on. doing it that way, it's it's very easy. However, not everybody has a DVD burner on their computer, especially these days. Lots, especially on laptops, lots of them are coming without DVD burners. So I'll show you how to do it with a USB. First thing you're going to need, obviously, is a USB. You're going to need one that is at least 2 GB in storage, and you are going to need it formatted to FAT32. Now, let me go and I should have left the file manager open, but let's just go and we'll pull that up. If you look at over here on the left hand side of my file manager and you come down to E, that is the USB that I just put in, and as you can see, it's not showing anything. And if you go and right click it, you can go down to a format. There it is right there. Click format, and FAT32 is what you want. This is it's actually a 16 GB capacity, but you burn up a little bit with formatting and whatnot. So anyway, you can go this route and use this to format it. Click start, boom, you're done. Another route that you can go is if there's a particular third-party software that you want to use to do the formatting for you. I have this mini tool partition wizard. You can download it from CNET and a number of other sites. But as far as a free partitioning and formatting tool for Windows, it's one of the best that I've found. So you could go and use that to do a little formatting. I would demonstrate right now, except that I'm doing a secure wipe of an external hard drive right now, and because of the capacity of the hard drive and the fact that I'm doing 7 passes of a format, it's taking a couple of days. So I really can't demo that right now, but if you want to use one of those third-party tools, go right ahead and go that route. So anyway, we've got we've got our USB, we've got it formatted. Now we've got to burn our ISO to that USB. Now the tool that I am going to use, and I've got it saved right here, and I'll give it a second to open up, is Win32 Disk Imager. So you can just do a quick search online to find this tool. It's a freebie. Download it. Works with just about every Windows version. I know from basically Windows Vista on up, it works. I don't know if it works on XP or older, but I know for a fact that it does work on Vista and newer, just because I've done it. And real easy to work with this piece of software. You just select your device here, and you can see it's auto. It found my USB on its own, so I don't need to change that. But if you had a couple of, if it doesn't find it, or if you got a couple of USBs, pick whichever drive you need, and then under image file, just click the little file folder. And this might be a little confusing to people, and it is that Windows by default does not see those ISO images. So if you come down here to right here where you can select the file type and just click the stars, the couple of stars there, now you'll be able to see basically everything that is in my downloads folder. We're just going to scroll down to where Ubuntu was, and we want Ubuntu 15.10 desktop. Click open, and now we just go and click write. You'll get this little warning. Yes, I know what's involved. Click yes, and just sit back and let it do its thing. Depending on the size of the ISO, it'll take it a couple of minutes, and also how fast your hard drive is and all that kind of stuff. But just sit back and let it do a thing, and when it's complete, it is time to install. Now, while it's working, I'll talk a little bit about the install process. uh, when what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to reboot your system. And when your system is rebooting, you'll have some option to either go into the BIOS or to select an alternative boot device. Like on ThinkPads, there's the special the blue button, I guess you call it. Those of you that have a ThinkPad, you know what I'm talking about. You click that, and you can select an alternative boot device. You can select the USB then, and you're going to want to boot into the USB. Um, if you don't have something like that, you may, as the computer is running through its BIOS, you may have something that flashes across the screen. Click F12 to select alternate a boot device. Go that route. If you don't have those options, what you will need to do is go into the BIOS, and you'll need to select, or not to select, but change the boot order. So you will need to make it so that the USB device boots first before your regular hard drive or anything like that. And there are so many different BIOSes out there that it'd really be impossible for me to do a demo on all the different ones there are. So you're kind of on your own on that one. Like I said, on most newer computers, it'll be fairly obvious on as far as going into the BIOS and selecting your boot order. So, having said that, and talking about newer computers, a lot of newer computers have UEFI, which it is claimed that is a security feature. I'm not going to go into whether it really is or not, but one of the things that it does is prevent the installation of alternate operating systems. So you will need to go into the UEFI, and generally you will find a legacy mode. Uh, Go in there, select legacy mode. That will allow you to go and install Ubuntu or whatever Linux distribution you want to work with. And it looks like we are almost done with our ISO installation. So it should be just a minute or so now. And what I'm going to do, yep, there we are, write successful. So click OK. That is all completed. So what I'm going to do so I can demonstrate how to and walk you through the whole installation process is I'm going to switch over to my Linux partition, and we will open up a virtual machine so that you can see the installation process, and I'll just kind of walk you through it step by step. Okay, so here we are on my Linux partition. So let's go and open up Gnome boxes, which is my tool for creating virtual machines. And if you're not familiar with virtual machines, it allows me to test a particular Linux distribution without installing it on real hardware. So let's create a new virtual box. And I will tell you that virtual machines have a tendency to run slower and lag as compared to real hardware. So if it seems like this is taking a long time, part of it is due to the fact that on the virtual hardware, things run slower than on real hardware. So this is the opening screen that you will see when you begin the installation process. Okay, so here we are on our opening screen. You'll be given a choice of languages. Just select whatever your native language is, and then you can either try Ubuntu, so you can, from the USB, play around with the distribution, see if you like it, whatnot, or just go ahead and install. So we're going to do the installation, so we'll click that. And yes, we have at least 6.9 gigabytes of drive space. We are connected to the internet. If you wish, you can download updates while installing and install third-party software. I always do that after the installation, but if you want to do that at this point, go ahead and check those boxes. Now, since I'm doing this on a virtual machine and there's not something already installed, I don't have an option for, do you want to install this alongside Windows or whatever. If this was a PC that already had Windows installed, you would have an option that said that it would say something like, do you want to install this alongside Windows 7 or whatever version of Windows you have, or as this one says, erase the disk and install Ubuntu. Then you have a couple of options for encrypt the new Ubuntu installation for security, use logical volume management with the new installation, or something else. Now, the erase disk and install Ubuntu, basically it's just, select that, install now, and for the most part it's self-explanatory. So there's not a whole lot I need to show you there. What we'll do is we'll come down to this something else so you can see how to install separate partitions, and as I go through this you'll see there's a method to the madness, as they say. Okay, so here we are, and what I am going to do is I'm going to create a separate partition for my home folder and a separate partition for what we call the root, which is where all your programs are stored and the basic Ubuntu code and that sort of thing. And the reason for this is ease of fixing problems and backups. Okay, so if you've got a separate, let's say you have a separate home folder, and for whatever reason you download a program that just totally screws up Ubuntu, it won't run anymore or whatever, you can go now and just reinstall Ubuntu, and all of your files and that are still in the same home folder, and there's no re-downloading or reinstalling any of the files that you had there. Essentially, this is just a safety thing for you, or a ease of reinstallation, however you want to look at it. But anyway, so to do this, let's go and we'll click on where it says free space, and we're going to click plus, and first we're going to do our main our root. So let's do 20 gigabytes for that. That's more than enough room for Ubuntu. And okay, so I put in there, and it's in megabytes, so 20,000 is 20 gigabytes roughly. Type for this new partition, we want a primary partition. Location for the new partition at the beginning of this space. And then we want ext4 journaling file system. Now there's other options that you could pick, but ext4 it's the best option for what we're doing here. And then mount point, the root is going to be just this simple slash like that, and click OK. Okay, so that's done now. Now we got our free space here, and now obviously that's not a whole lot of space. That's roughly 11 gigabytes, and unless you have a real small hard drive, which probably you're not going to have a little 30 gigabyte hard drive like I've got here in this virtual machine, you probably got 100 gigs or more. So the sizes are going to be a little bit different here. But now there's basically two things left that we need to make. One is what's referred to as Linux swap, which needs to be roughly the same size as the amount of RAM that you have. Now I have 4 gigabytes of RAM selected for this, so we're going to do 4,000 megabytes, which is roughly 4 gigabytes. And we'll make this a primary partition also, beginning of this space, mount point, or actually just come down to where it says swap area. Click OK. So it has created our swap space. And then come down to free space, and then we will create our home folder. We're going to use everything that's left for our home folder. Once again, a primary partition, beginning of the space, ext4 journaling again, and mount point. Go down to where it says home. Click OK. And then down here where it says device for bootloader installation, if you've just got one hard drive on your system, it's going to be the same place that you installed all this. And you're not going to have other options, but just stick with what it has for default. Click install now. Continue. Okay, from this point on, if you had selected the erase disk and install Ubuntu on the entire disk, or if you had gone with the install alongside of Windows, if you've already got Windows installed, from this point on, everything is exactly the same as compared to back there. What I just showed you is sort of an extra step if you want to do manual partitioning. So anyway, where are you? It selected my time zone perfectly. If not, just type in the closest major city and it'll pull the time zone for you. So we'll click continue. Select your keyboard layout. 99 times out of 100 it's going to by default pick the correct thing for you. If not, put in the right thing. Okay, so now who are you? We'll put in our name and come up with a name for your computer. I'm just going to stick with what it came up with by default, but you can choose something else yourself. Pick a username. You don't have to go with what it picked by default. Just it needs to be all lowercase though and all one word. Choose a password, and again confirm it. Now you can set this up so that either you'll log in automatically or require a password to log in. I always leave it as require a password to log in. Select this little box right here if you want to encrypt the home folder. Click continue. And from this point on, it's just a matter of kick back and wait for it to do its thing. On a normal piece of hardware, it'll take, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. But it'll probably take a little longer on this on the virtual hardware. So what I'm going to do is pause the video and then we'll come back when the installation is done. Okay, we are back. Installation is complete, and you can see your little message right here, installation complete. You need to restart your computer in order to use the new installation. Click restart now, and just give it a minute there, and boom, you're ready to go. And it will it'll reboot. You'll get a little message there. It says please remove the installation media, so take the USB out, click enter, and it'll reboot for you at that point. Well, that just about finishes this video up. Hopefully you have found this useful and it helps you out with the installation process. There will be more Ubuntu how-to videos coming forward, ones that are specifically targeted towards the new user. If you go to my YouTube channel, there is a playlist called Introductory to Linux. That playlist is where I will put those basic tutorials, so definitely check out that playlist, and I believe you can subscribe to that specific playlist so you'll get notifications of when those videos get uploaded. As always, please leave comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down below. I will try to get to it as soon as possible, and give us a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all on the next video. Thanks a lot.